Good afternoon, this is Dr. K, and I would like to talk to you about the reflective essay, which is an assignment that is due on Sunday of week 3. When I click on reflective essay, you'll see that it gives us a very brief explanation of the assignment and grading. However, you'll notice here that there is a file that you can click on. It's a PDF file and it will then download. The other thing that you'll note here is that there's a rubric, and this is the way that your assignment is graded by your instructor. The instructor will simply go through this rubric, which is also shown in the PDF instructions, and click on the appropriate assessment based on your work. And the instructor will also make comments directly in the assignment, and will also probably have overall comments for you. So let's go back and click on the week 3 reflective essay. The purpose of the reflective essay is to help you make some personal meaning of how you fit in the larger field of project management. It is a paper. We do expect you to follow the rules about papers, mainly in terms of creating the paper and then going back and editing your paper to make it flow well. And that would mean working on things like having an introduction, having a conclusion, having a good flow of paragraphs in the body of the paper. Some resources you might need, you could look at pmi.org for descriptions of PMP certification. You might see whether or not you're interested in getting professional certification as a project manager, and you might discuss that in your paper. You also might start by finding one project manager job description on the internet that's in your field. And you aren't looking for a job that you actually want to apply for. You're just looking for some information on what project management jobs that you might be qualified for are available, or were available, even if they're no longer currently open. Finally, another topic that you may choose to discuss is your experience in the team-based exercises and projects. There's a rubric that's included at the end of this document, and that's a potential tool that you can assess your team experiences versus what you thought it should be. And when you think about it, it's possible that in a team, you always are the one who's behind. That would be like my son. Or you are always the one who's way ahead of everybody, who really needs to get it done early. And it seems that no matter which team you're assigned to, your role doesn't actually change, because it's based on you rather than on the environment that you're in. And that might be a good thing to explore in a paper like this. Now, the length of the paper will vary. You have 2 choices for format. Either you can do APA style, in which case you should do great APA style and stick to that. As an alternative, do a single-spaced blog type format. Blogs are very important as a writing tool these days, and a blog is entirely acceptable for a reflection. If you go with the APA environment, you are going to be double spacing. If you go with a blog style format, you'll probably be single spacing. So your blog paper, single spaced, would often be less than the 5 to 8 pages that you'd expect to see in an APA double spaced paper. If you come up with ideas that you did not make up, whether you're using blog format or whether you're using PMI format, APA format, you should cite in-text citing and on that little reference section at the bottom, just so that we know that you're being careful about what you learned from someone else versus brand new ideas that are your own. The reflective essay is due Sunday, and let's talk about the rubric. There are 3 levels for each of these, and the maximum point per element is 5 points. 6 elements for a total of 30 points. So if you use inconsistent or unprofessional formatting, meaning that it's partially single spaced, it's partially double spaced, it wanders around, that would be 0 to 2 points, all the way up to using a consistent format flawlessly would be 5 points per element. Whether that's a blog format, which you define what your blog format looks like and use it consistently throughout your paper, or whether you use APA format consistently. The second area is polish. Rather than sending the first draft of what you write, we expect the flow and quality of the paper to show evidence that you really did revise this to a polished state, do some editing. In terms of objectivity and honesty, we expect you to consider how you fit in the profession and to compare that to a job description or a PMI certification or perhaps how you fit within teams. We'd like you to focus on your personal emotions in context of the professional ethics and social issues associated with project management. It would require that all required sections are complete and any unnecessary sections are deleted. And then finally, if you use sources, and I think you will, you would cite the most relevant sources accurately, both in text and on the reference page. And you wouldn't need necessarily at least 1 per page in this particular assignment, but it's a good rule of thumb. Finally, let's talk about the reflective essay from this resource, which is the team process rubric. This is actually something that that is helpful when you're developing your team contract or when you're assessing your own performance within a team. And we all tend to have particular roles that we play no matter which team we're in. And understanding how you fit into best practices in a team is an important concept to come out of from this class. So that's the end of the reflective essay information. Please let me know if you have questions or comments.